Replay. Replay.
Let's not take the piss here.
Replay. Replay.
I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
Hello and welcome to Hip Hop World Cup, the podcast that pits golden age hip hop tracks and albums against each other in a contest to find the ultimate champions. I'm your host Danny Phillips and you're listening to Hip Hop World Cup Replay, a highlight show looking back at the best matches from our first series. It's a bit like Match of the Day, if Match of the Day only showed highlights of one match that took place a few years ago. Anyway, the reason we're putting these replay episodes out is that in our first series we crammed 8 whole albums into each episode. That's a lot of discussion about hip hop. So we thought it would be a good idea to single out and revisit some of the individual battles from that first series. I'm coming to you live in this episode of Hip Hop World Cup Replay from Chicago, home of somebody who is involved in this very episode, Common Sense, or Common as he's known these days. In this episode, we're revisiting our 1994 episode when Common Sense's Resurrection was drawn against Method Man's Tical. And joining me to discuss this match is somebody who was very recently a sponsor of the show, providing a very generous £5 for a few mentions on the show. He's the one, the only, Steve Agrizovic. Great to have you here, Steve. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Looking forward to what you've got to say.
Yeah, we're here. We're looking forward to what you've got to say as well. And if you want to hear what Oggy has to say about this match, you can very simply just hit the red button on your podcast app, and you'll get his full commentary as we go along in this episode. But if, whether you do that or whether you just listen to us, please sit back, enjoy this episode. Tical Resurrection. Who wants to go first on this one? Steve, come on, let's kick this one off.
Yeah, well, let's start with Resurrection, because I already talked about this album a little bit before, didn't I? Saying actually, I've always kind of said to you two, this album's rubbish and it's not as good as you two make it out. But I'm going to say it, and you can fall over claps. But I do think this is a great album, and I think it's like, it stands on its own in this year in terms of like its kind of style and the way it sounds. It's a little bit kind of ahead of its time, and I know you keep calling him Common Sense, but he was Common Sense here still, wasn't he? I think. And
he was. Yeah.
It was his last album, but he, his voice does annoy me. I think this is what I find difficult. But then his lyricism is just superb. His metaphors and his punchlines are just excellent. In fact, they're as good as Biggie, but he can't deliver them with the same impact because of his voice. I just wish he had a different voice, because I think he'd be considered a much greater rapper than he is. So yeah, I think it's an album with no poor tracks. I just don't have the personal attachment you two do, but I you'd be pleased to hear I really do appreciate, and I do like this album.
Well, that's really encouraging to hear, Steve. And it's funny you say that about his sort of his voice, and because on his first album, Can I Borrow $1, he was a lot more energetic. He was really sort of manic, hyper. I don't know if you ever heard that album, but I think you wouldn't get on board with that one even more.
I don't get on with that album at all.
What he does in this album, he does calm it down. I think even in one of the tracks, he says, calm down, doesn't he? He kind of brings it down a notch. He's a conscious decision to make himself a little bit calmer, a little bit sort of, because he's growing up a bit. But yeah, Larry, I mean, I know you love this album a lot, like I do. So what is it? So distill down what it is you love about this album.
That's tricky, isn't it? I think like going into this whole podcast enterprise, I had it in my mind that this was probably my favourite album ever. Certainly kind of, you and me, Danny, we've got the same top 3. It's this, it's Death Certificate, it's the second NWA album. We've never been able to kind of quite rate them in relation to each other. So that's just to give people a kind of idea of the reverence I have for it. But the problem I kind of find myself with it is kind of how to articulate why I love it in a way that does it justice that I kind of think it deserves, really. And I'm glad Steve has brought up the kind of lyricism on this because I just feel completely inadequate in my ability to kind of describe exactly why he's such an incredible lyricist. And I think actually some of the verses on this album are kind of worthy of proper like academic exploration, like especially in trying to articulate why he's so far ahead of pretty much everyone else up until this point in hip-hop history, I think, which I know is a big thing to say, but I would just urge anyone out there that hasn't listened to this album to, or even anyone that has listened to it, does know it, listen to it while having the lyrics in front of you, because I kind of realised today that although I've been listening to this for, over 20 years, there's so much on there where I don't know what he's actually saying. And to see it written out is absolutely staggering. Just like the title track in itself, I can almost rap it without really knowing the words, if you know what I mean. But actually seeing the words written out, it's just some of the stuff he comes out with is he's so clever.
It's phenomenal.
It's like double meanings.
Double meanings.
That's it. The double meanings is definitely one of the key aspects of it. I think I'm with you a little bit, Steve, on his voice. And I always kind of thought that actually he had one of the best voices ever. And I kind of stick by that, but I can also see how it would grate with people a bit, because his voice today on his current albums can bug me a little bit.
Oh, 100%.
You like your nasal rappers as well, don't you? I think
he is sort of nasal in a way, but I don't know. He's kind of it's obviously not enough to put me off. I do like the voice. I almost feel like I've always felt like he exaggerates his own sort of idiosyncrasies. Don't know if that makes any sense. It's like it's like he exaggerates the kind of annoying parts of what his voice and his flow is like.
He is a great lyricist.
It's
one of the most cleverest rappers. Some of the
is there anything like on Resurrection? Is there anything up until this point in time that can touch Resurrection? Like, to me, I remember hearing that and being like, it's what we used to call like next level stuff. It was like it was reinventing rapping to me. Is that an over exaggeration?
I don't think there's anything this intricate, really.
Yeah.
But the other thing with this album is that I used to love her. That track is so clever as well. Like, he's saying that in 1994.
Yeah.
It's like bonkers.
That is one of the best concept raps of all time. I mean,
but it happened in 94. It's almost like people weren't thinking of doing that stuff till
he was
far
ahead of his time.
I think with that track, it's that track that taught me to properly listen to music.
Yeah.
I remember the penny drop moment. I remember hearing that and love being really engaged with the story, but not quite latching on to what he was talking about. And then when he kind of explains it at the end, you immediately want to rewind and listen to it again, so you can pick it all up again. On that point, it's one of those albums that rewards repeat listens. That's why it stood the test of time, I think, from what you've been saying, Larry. Yeah, and certainly from my perspective, is that you can listen to it again. It's so densely packed with lyrics, and musical touches, loads of things, loads of bits. It's little things like I was guilty in a sense. Like guilty innocence. Like that's just it doesn't necessarily make much sense, but in the moment you're just like, fucking hell, that is so, like how did no one put those two things together yet?
Yeah, it's so nuanced. There's so much to dig out and listen, and like you say, here for the first time, 20, 30 years later, to create something, a piece of art like that still allows you to pick things out of it and meaning and things you never notice. It's just incredible.
I noticed things today, like through reading it. There's a bit in Resurrection where he says, I'll take all the funk out of it. He says, I bathe in beats, rinse in riffs, dry in drums.
Like in a washing machine.
I'm bathed. I'm completely immersed.
And they've got the immortal opening
in rap music. It's
amazing, is that I stagger in the gathering, possessed by pattern, that be scattering over the global. My vocals be travelling and unraveling the abdomen.
Yeah,
I mean it's on another level.
The rhyme schemes there are. I would love to hear the thoughts of somebody who knows their poetry really well.
And
Yeah.
don't get me started.
Like
Don't get me started on communism,
Oh,
because I mean, what he does on that track, it's incredible. I mean, it's a simple concept. It's just to see how many words you can get starting in com, because
yeah.
he's called common sense, into
Yeah.
it. The way he stitches them together, the way he packs them all in, the way he flows from one to the other. It's breathtaking, and it always has taken my breath away.
Yeah.
Watermelon.
Danny, there's such a juxtaposition between this and your love of beatnuts rapping.
I know. This is what, but you bring me on to the other part of this equation, is the beats on this are fantastic.
Yeah.
No ID knocks it out of the park on this album.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff on this album is some of my favorite hip hop beats of all time.
Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible. To explain it, it's kind of like nostalgic soul. It's so soulful.
It's jazz, isn't it?
It's jazz, but it's got this kind of real fuzzy 70s soul, nostalgic quality, but with the beats behind it, they're so crisp and so big, and this is amazing. This is an amazing piece of production.
And like Steve mentioned, it is like musically, it's not boom bap, is it? Quite.
No.
It is qualitatively different from like it's cut from a similar cloth to, like, I don't know, Premiere, but it doesn't sound anything like it.
All the parts are there. It's
or Q-Tip or any of those kind of guys. Like he is up there on this album with any of those people, I think. And the whole thing. I tell you what, though, I think you were about to mention this, Danny. It's got one of the worst bits of sequencing ever in a hip hop album. To have Resurrection, I Used to Love Her, and then Watermelon.
I see, but I quite like Watermelon.
Really?
Because it kind of, well, I was going to say I
think it completely breaks the flow that they've established.
But I've just got used to it being part of the flow of what comes next.
Yeah.
And like,
it's not a terrible track or anything like that. It's one of the weaker ones, but just to put it there, it's just like this is why Illmatic is so tight. It's because it's 10 tight tracks, apart from maybe one.
Yeah.
This has just got a few in there which but that just bring it down just a notch. Like something like Orange Pineapple Juice, it's not bad, but like Watermelon, it just interrupts the flow a little bit. It's a bit unnecessary. It's not quite on the level of the other ones.
When you've got Resurrect, you've got the knockout 1-2 punch of Resurrection, and I Used to Love Her. I'll take your point. Maybe Watermelon was perhaps not the most natural choice to put there, but I've got used to it as being there as part of the sequence of the album. But I think the only other one I don't really like is Some Shit I Wrote towards the end. But because it's towards the end, I don't mind it.
You don't mind, so
it's there. Even like Maintaining's great. It's just
Maintaining's good. Like Chapter 13.
Chapter 13. I've never heard a hip hop track like Chapter 13 before or after. It's absolutely fantastic. It takes that Archie Whitewater sample and does something with it, and I've just been like obsessed with that track ever since. You've got obviously This Is Me.
That's so funky. I love that.
Yeah, funky. You've also got Nothing to Do, which
one of my favorites.
That's just great.
That sample is, it just takes me to another place. It really does. Just how did you find that? I've looked it up. I know what it is, and I've heard it in the context of the original song that he sampled, but for some reason it just he was digging in different crates, wasn't he?
He
was digging in different crates. They're very like that sort of like fuzzy kind of old soul from the 70s.
Yeah,
he was digging in those sorts of crates.
This Is Me. I think it's like
Alton McLean and
Destiny. I'd say it's a little detail that I love about this album, and I don't know if you two have kind of. It's the bit in Resurrection where at the end where it fades out and comes back in again. Yeah, it's got that brilliant scratch routine, and what's so clever about it is that, and I don't know, maybe this is just obvious from day one, it's being resurrected.
Yeah, that's really clever.
Like how clever is that to do that? Like you could. There's no need to do that at the end, but just to take it out and then bring it back, it just adds another layer, and it shows you what you're dealing with on this album.
And talking of adding another layer, you said you find it hard to articulate, Larry, why you love this album so much, but for me, there's another layer to it. Yeah, in that it came out at a very, very special time in my life. I was it was around that time, we were going to parties, we were getting our first jobs. It was. It was a really, really great time, and I just remember being in these house parties where, we would put this on in the middle of the night, and it would come in with res, and that would just kind of, and then it would come in with that Ahmad Jamal sample, the dolphin dancing.
Yeah.
It has this really nostalgic, warm, soulful feeling for me, this album. Every time I listen to it, it takes me back there to that time.
Yeah.
And I guess that's how a lot of music works. And there was a lot of other albums that came out in '94 that don't do that for me. But I think it was the combination of the type of music that was on this, combined with the sort of memorable lyricism that he brought to it, combined with the time of life I heard it. So it adds up to this big package that just...
I think there's definitely something to be... Like, Steve, if you kind of were more... If you had got into this a long time ago properly, where would it rank for you?
Well, it's interesting to say. I kind of just made a note here to kind of like, because to talk about in a moment, because this is an album that lots of people won't consider a great album or a classic album. So there's something about this album that makes it kind of not so accessible, because it is a cerebral album, and it's so fascinating to hear you two talk so passionately about it, and I definitely haven't had those insights that you two have. I don't know, maybe it's a maturity thing. I don't know what it is that hooked you two in at the time. Like you say, Danny, it was kind of, you were going through all those kind of teenage years, and I didn't get that album at that time. So I don't know. It'd be interesting, Larry. I think in a year's time, after I've listened to this more, or maybe, I don't know, come to love it a bit more. Ask me again.
Yeah, sometimes you just can't go back. Like, there are albums that I've listened to for this podcast for the first time that I recognize. I recognize how incredible they are, but you can't attach that feeling that you had to it initially. And I think, like, this album, like, I loved hip hop already. This just elevated the art form for me and demonstrated to me what it could be. And I think from that point, I was like, this is the album against which everything else was judged. And why would I listen to something frivolous when I could just listen to this? It's like everything after this had to kind of be aiming for this.
It was
standard.
It was a new benchmark. Yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of music. I think we've spent a lot of time on that album. I think we need to talk about its competitor now, because it's got a hell of a lot to live up to. Tical by Method Man.
Can I go first on this one?
Yeah.
The reason is that I bought this album, Danny, on the back of you giving me a mixtape that had Release Yo Delph on it. Yeah. And when I heard it on that kind of mixtape, I can't even remember what other tracks on there. I think maybe Natural Born Killers was on there. It kind of like secured itself as like one of my favourite tracks ever. So I went out and bought the album. And I got back and I couldn't believe what I bought. I was like, oh my God, this is like impossible to listen to. I hate this. This is like ridiculous. And it was a time when I was like properly getting into hip hop, and it was like, and looking back, like putting it into kind of some kind of perspective now, I can't imagine having to listen to a more hardcore hip hop album. But having said all that, it was worth me persevering with it, because I think I owe this album a lot, because I think it taught me to appreciate harder hip hop and hip hop that's kind of, I don't know, a bit more kind of complicated, because I think this is a bit of a kind of genius of an album, and again it comes back to RZA, doesn't it? RZA is an absolute genius to be able to match these like crazy sparse beats to Method Man. There's probably not many rappers like Method Man that could have kind of pulled this album off, because I do love this album now, and Method Man is unusual. His voice is unusual. His flow is quite unusual. He kind of like, he's like got that like undulating, pulsing, I don't know, rapping, and he does lots of random stuff, a bit like ODB, but maybe a bit more kind of coherent than him.
Yeah. He's very unique.
He's really unique, isn't he?
He mixes it up and he keeps you on your toes.
He was never able to do a good album after this one. I think the stuff he did up subsequently was never kind of as good, because I don't think the beats were hard enough for his kind of like rhyme. So I just wanted to kind of say I kind of feel probably a bit more like you two, that I've got such a personal attachment to this one. It's kind of like it's kind of cemented itself in my kind of subconscious because of how much effort I had to put into like getting to know it and getting to love it. And
I think I was probably the same, actually.
And I go back and listen to it now, and I realise how many classics, and like Bring the Pain. That is like just such a head nodder. You know, the beats are so fast, but you're just nodding along, and like all I Need, which I can't remember who the R&B singer is that did the remix on. I'm not interested in that one, but the lyrics in there are just superb, absolutely brilliant. And then What the Blood Clot, that's just like proper hardcore hip hop. It's just like mad, really. You know, there's just lots of raw stuff. Sub Crazy, just really raw. And you know,
raw is one word for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really raw. And I know, Danny, I don't think this is palatable to kind of your ear, but I also think this has aged really well. I don't know what you think about this album, Larry, but I don't skip anything on this album. I really enjoy listening to it. I think it's a timeless album with most of the album is RZA. I think there's like Ninth Disciple did a couple of tracks on there, but with a genius producer, a unique rapper, I think it's a fantastic album.
So, well, Larry, you go next because I know you're a fan of this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what it comes down to, I just love how kind of off kilter and weird the beats are.
Yeah.
This is probably responsible for me going down that path of liking kind of more abstract, hard to kind of process weird samples. It's kind of got more in common with trip hop than hip hop, really. Yeah. And I don't know, I mean, I'm not quite sure of the timeline. I know sort of like, you know, the first Portishead album was in 94. I don't know who was kind of influencing who, but to me it's kind of sounds like it could have been made in Bristol, basically, rather than New York. Yeah, some of it's a weird mix, but like the ones that I really like are tracks like Tical, Sub Crazy, PLO Style, Mr. Sandman. They're just all weird. Like I can understand why people would really dislike them, but it's that kind of thing that it gives me a weird, perverse kind of pleasure that I love these tracks and other people would just like be really scratching their heads at why they can even be listened to at all. Like on some of those tracks, like the drums are barely there, like they're just buried under kind of low pass filters, and like in the case of Sub Crazy, there's not even a kick drum on there,
or a snare, really. It's
like a pitched down kind of hand clap that's buried in loads of reverb and delay, and that kind of thing, that kind of sound design, just really appeals to my kind of aesthetic preferences, really. I think it's kind of the precursor to me kind of getting into stuff like Company Flow and LP and all that kind of weird stuff, and it just goes, I don't think it would work with any other rapper. I think Method Man is just perfect for this, and like you say, Steve, like, and as we said before, RZA, like whether you like all of the individual albums or not, and I don't like them all especially, but he is the master of producing an album for an artist. Like all of the albums that he produced for Method Man, for ODB, for Jizza, they match those rappers just absolutely perfectly. And
it must have been a conscious decision. He must have consciously been thinking about that, because it can't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's a producer in the proper sense of the word. He doesn't just like, you know, someone like Premier, as great as he is, you know. I don't think he makes a beat thinking, oh, this will sound good for a Jeru beat, or this will be good for a group home beat. It's just he makes beats and people say, oh, I'll have that one. Whereas RZA really just knows.
I don't know. I think you could have any of the Wu-Tangers over any of these.
Really?
No chance. Method Man is so. You might get away with ODB on some of these, but he's might be a bit
apart from ODB, Method Man is the kind of weirdest, kind of stoned. It's just it sounds smoky. Yeah. Like his whole thing was, you know, Tical is weed, isn't it? He's all about smoking weed. It's like you can hear like the beats sound fuzzy, haze. You can hear the smoke. In the room, basically. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, no, I totally get, because I know that's your kind of preference, you know, in terms of the stuff you like to listen to and the stuff you like to make.
Just mangling,
Totally hear it.
he mangles
not
the
predictable.
samples, and
Not
like,
predictable.
you don't know where the samples end and the kind of effects and the keyboards start. You know, it just all kind of it's gloopy and mashed together. I just love it. So
it's a bit of a mystery.
It's really dense. Yeah, it's a mystery. It's intriguing.
I get that, and I get that you love that sort of approach to beat.
But I can definitely see how it's completely antithetical to what you like, Danny.
It's the absolutely. It's completely the opposite of what the sort of stuff I like. And there are moments on this album that I do love. You know, obviously, Steve, you mentioned like Bring the Pain earlier on and Release Your Delph. The two tracks I absolutely adore on this album, and but that's because they're more.
They're a bit more traditional.
They're a bit more traditional, more mainstream. You know, they're the ones that they reason they were singles. You know, so.
But even then, they're still very like Release Your Delph. That's a really harsh. That sample, it's like a wailing, weird horn.
Yeah.
Well, it's a trumpet, isn't it? But and it's got a really
quite
weird,
an aggressive track, isn't it?
It's quite aggressive. It's got this really weird sort of interpolation of "I Will Survive," like the lyrics.
Probably
so Blue
odd,
Raspberry again.
Yeah.
But so I like those two, and that shouldn't work putting those vocals on that track, but it kind of does.
The drum beat on that is quite like it's got that little military
it's military,
like a marching drum.
March.
I don't think I'm mistaken here. I think that was the first track Westwood ever played on his Radio 1 show.
That sounds about right. I remember listening to that again around some of those house parties and stuff, and I absolutely loved it. I played it all the time. So those two I love, but the rest of them I just like. It feels like a party I haven't been invited to. You know, it's like well, the first two words on my notes are absolute shite. I think that's a bit harsh.
That is harsh.
I think that's harsh, but I think it's a very muddy, very messy, a sloppy album, but deliberately so, because that's what his want. That's what he produced for Method Man, because that's the sort of artist he is. I get all that, but I just don't find that a very enjoyable listen, and I can't get on board with it.
I completely get that. I completely get why people wouldn't like this.
And even to the point where I understand what they're doing. I get it. I know what they're doing. I know that he's experimenting. I know he's creating this soundscape that suits Method Man's rapping style. And I get that.
But you just don't like it.
I just don't like it, basically, yeah. And I think we were talking about Sub Crazy a minute ago. For me, that is like one of the worst hip-hop beats of all time. And I know he probably, you know, it was made in that way. It was made to be not a traditional hip-hop beat. And I know for all those reasons, it was an experiment. It was, you know, he's trying to be different. And I get that, and I appreciate that. And I know you like that, Larry, but I can't, that track is unlistenable to me.
Unlistenable.
Fascinating though it is, you know, to try and pick out some of the samples and that little rolling drum fill that he puts in there, and it kind of matches the rapping as well. That little fill as well.
On Tical.
On Sub Crazy.
Oh, okay.
That bit.
Yeah.
He kind of puts.
I love the little.
But it comes in and out. It comes in and out, and it doesn't stay the whole time.
I love the drums on Tical. It's got that kind of.
And then you've got some, like, you know, some of the more traditional sounding kind of Wu-Tang stuff, like What the Blood Clot and you know, what's the other one? I'll Get My Thang in Action, PLO style. They're very they're kind of classic Wu-Tang. You know, I kind of get on board with some of those. But then, Mr. Sandman's a very hard listen.
So Danny,
I love Mr. Sandman's got like that to me is just that is RZA distilled on that track.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous nonsense, basically, but brilliant.
Danny, I was going to say, like you say, it's unlistenable, and I think I thought that when I first bought it, and I kind of like trained myself or persevered with it. Do you think if you listened to it like every day for the next like 2 months, you would ever come to appreciate it?
Probably not. I need to have that instant connection with something. Not instant connection, but like it needs to at least give me something from the start that I can then work with. But I just don't.
I think it's such a different sound, isn't it? It's like if you were to say I'm not into heavy metal, that would just be instantly like, oh, I guess fine, it's just not for you, kind of thing. And it's like that with this. It's just such a different
And I've been trying for nigh on 30 years. I put it on every now and again just to see. I can't listen to it. I think it's my least favorite Wu-Tang album. But there we go.
One thing I think one thing that I've always kind of thought odd about this. All I Need, I think, is quite is probably the worst track on there. But I love the Razor Sharp remix. And Danny, I think you like that one.
Yeah, I like
as
that
well.
one. I prefer it anyway. I listened to it when I revisited it, and the version on the album is very has kind of amateurish quality to it.
Yeah,
with
very
the
sloppy.
descending like line. It's again that's Rez's thing, but it's not. I prefer the remix. But anyway, look, I think we need to move on because we've got another semi-final to get into. So we got to vote. We got to vote, chaps. I'm going to come to you first, Steve. I think I probably know the answer to this, but let's start with you.
No, leave me to last because I think I need some thinking time here.
All right. Well, let's get me out of the way because I think it's very clear what I'm going to vote
obvious,
for.
Yeah.
Because Resurrection is my, I'd say, second favorite hip hop album of all time. So I'm going Resurrection. Easy for me. Larry, what are you going for?
I love Tical, but I would cast it into a ditch and never listen to it again quite happily if it meant that I could still have Resurrection in my life.
Lovely stuff. So that's kind of sorted it. So is it going to be a 3-0 whitewash or is it going to be a narrow 2-1?
I don't know. I mean, interesting because they're obviously like this word's like overused. They're both like seminal albums based on what we've been saying. They're both. But so many rappers and groups can look back and think, I followed Tical or I followed Resurrection. Don't know. Can I abstain?
you could now because it's a moot point.
It is. I think I probably like.
But your fans out there, they want to know what you think, Steve. They want to know what you voted for.
So before this week, I would have said Tical, definitely. And I think just hearing the discussion and listening to Resurrection and trying to appreciate it, I think I could vote for Resurrection. Sod it. I'm gonna go for Tical. I think based on all the flack I've given Resurrection over the years.
Yeah. And sort of the formative nature of Tical and your hip hop appreciation, I think it would be only right for you to vote for it.
Yeah, and I'm the same as Larry. I listen to more albums like Tical now or subsequently than I do like Resurrection.
Fair enough.
So sorry,
okay.
Colin.
No, that's fair enough. So that's a 2-1 win for Resurrection.
That's it. I hope you enjoyed that epic battle. Let us know what you think on X, Instagram, Threads and Blue Sky. Just search at Hip Hop World Cup. Give us a follow and let us know you're listening. Also, please subscribe and leave us nice 5-star reviews on Spotify, Apple or your podcast platform of choice. We also have a YouTube channel, so please check us out on there. But that's it. Thanks for listening and we'll see you for our next replay. Peace.
Good looking boy.